John chapter 9. Jesus heals a man born blind. As Jesus went along, he saw a man who was blind. He had been blind since he was born. Jesus' disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned? Was this man born blind because he sinned, or did his parents sin?" "It isn't because this man sinned," said Jesus. "It isn't because his parents sinned. This happened so that God's work could be shown in his life. Well, while it is still day, we must do the work of the one who sent me. Night is coming, then no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world." After he said this, he spit on the ground. He made some mud with the spit. Then he put the mud on the man's eye. "Go," he told him, "wash in the pool of Siloam." Siloam meant sent. So the man went and washed, and he came home able to see. His neighbors and those who had earlier seen him begging asked questions. "Isn't this the same man who used to sit and beg?" they asked. Some claimed that he was. Others said, "No, he only looks like him." But the man who had been blind kept saying, "I am the man." "Then how were your eyes opened?" they asked. He replied, "The man they called Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. He told me to go to Siloam and wash. So I went and washed. Then I could see." "Where is this man?" they asked him. "I don't know," he said. "The Pharisees want to know what happened." They brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. The day Jesus made the mud and opened the man's eye was the Sabbath. So the Pharisees also asked him how he was able to see. "He put mud on my eyes," the man replied. "Then I washed, and now I can see." Some of the Pharisees said, "Jesus has not come from God. He does not keep the Sabbath day." But others asked, "How can a sinner do such miraculous signs?" So the Pharisees did not agree with each other. Finally, they turned against to the blind man. They asked, "It was your eyes he opened." The man replied, "He is a prophet." The Jews still not believed that the man had been blind and now could see. So they spent for his parents. "Is this your son?" they asked. "Is this the one you say was born blind? How is it that now he can see?" "We know he is our son," the parents answered, "and we know he was born blind, but we don't know how he can now see, and we don't know who opened his eyes. Ask him. He is an adult. He can't speak for himself." His parents had said this because they were afraid of the Jews. The Jews had already decided that anyone who said Jesus was the Christ would be put out of the synagogue. That was why the man's parents said, "He is an adult. Ask him." Again, they called the man who had been blind to come to them. "Give glory to God by telling the truth," they said. "We know that the man who healed you is a sinner." He replied, "I don't know if he is a sinner or not. I do know one thing. I was blind, but now I can see." Then they asked him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered, "I have already told you, but you didn't listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too?" Then they began to attack him with their words. "You are this fellow's disciple," they said. "We are disciples of Moses. We know that God spoke to Moses. But we don't know where this fellow comes from." The man answered, "That is really surprising. You don't know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. You know that God doesn't listen to sinners. He listens to godly people who do what he wants them to do. Nobody has ever heard of anyone opening the eyes of a person born blind. If this man had not come from God, he could do nothing." And then the Pharisees replied, "When you were born, you were already deep in sin. How dare you talk like that to us?" And they threw him out of the synagogue. The blind will see. Jesus heard that the Pharisees had thrown the man out. When he found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man? Who is he, sir?" The man asked, "Tell me so I can believe him." Jesus said, "You have now seen him. In fact, he is the one speaking with you." Then the man said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshipped him. Jesus said, "I have come into this world to judge it. I have come so that the blind will see, and those who see will become blind." Some Pharisees who were with him heard him say this. He asked, "What, are we blind too?" Jesus said, "If you were blind, you would not be guilty of sin. But since you claim you can see, you remain guilty."